everybody. Welcome to a very rare afternoon show of TDC Podcast. I am here with J. Chris Newberg. Hey, buddy, get on the mic, will you?
Oh, hey, yeah.
Yeah, please get on the mic. You always talk so faintly.
What are you talking about? Always.
Always, you do. You talk
amount,
like
I talk the appropriate volume amount.
I want you less than an inch away from that microphone.
Like this.
Yeah, and you can pull it around to you. Otherwise, I got to crank shit up, and I don't want to have to deal with it.
Cool.
There
It's
you
right
go.
here, man.
There you go. Yeah, we don't usually do shows in the afternoon, but you've got shit going on later, and I wanted to have you in. I'm trying to do this thing where I have some of my favorite people, guests,
who
human
canceled?
beings, everybody. You were like 50th on the list,
Nice.
honestly. No, and it's not going to work out for everybody. I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
But there are some certain people that I really wanted to have, like, hey, one more time in Detroit,
Sure,
in this studio, in my home.
Yeah.
And you are definitely on that list.
That's cool. I can't wait to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here. I'm glad you were able to make it happen because I know that's not always easy
Sure.
to do, and it just kind of worked out.
Yeah.
I would like to thank Amanda Vogt and the Detroit Tigers for
Yeah.
making that happen.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, wasn't that fun?
It was so fun. It was much more stressful than it turned out to be. It turned out to be super fun, but like the in my headedness before, it was just bananas.
Well, let's reset for those that have no idea what we're talking about. You had the esteemed honor of throwing out the first pitch at a Tigers game, which is, honestly, I was thinking about it last night. I'm like, that is a really fucking big deal in a major league. Like, it's one thing at a AAA game or a high school game, college game. Being in a major league park on the field throwing out the first pitch is, they don't just let anybody do that.
No, it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great, and it was easier than I thought to do.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the whole thing worked out. Okay, does it help that I have a friend who works for the Tigers? Yes.
Well, that's how everybody.
Sure.
Yeah. Unless you're Eminem.
Yeah.
You know.
And then, comedian friends of mine, Chris Porter and Adam Ray, both comics who are killing it.
I know Chris.
And
I mean, I don't know him, but
yeah,
I know of him.
Both really funny dudes. And I saw Adam was throughout the first pitch at a Mariners game because he's from Washington. And Chris threw out the first pitch at a Royals game because he's from Kansas City. And I was like, I'm like, I want to do that. So I just called Amanda and I was like, how hard is it to do that?
Yeah.
And she messaged me back right away. She's like, you can do it, no problem. And I was like,
Yeah.
great. And then she told me pick the day, and I picked a day. And then I announced that I was going to do it. And, of course, in typical fashion, like every third message you get is, don't throw it like this.
Yeah,
And it's a picture of somebody throwing the ball, killing a baby.
Hitting a mascot, drilling a mascot. I'll be honest with you, and I think I told this to your face. I had conversations with Drew off the air about this, and we both agreed. Obviously, as a friend, you want Chris to go in there and throw a high, hard one strike right down the middle, whatever.
100%.
As a comic, as talk show hosts that do comedy shows, the best thing for all of us is for you to absolutely eat the whole bag of dicks.
100%.
Right? Like, and that would pay off for decades.
Yeah.
Like, every time I saw you, it'd be like, remember that? You know, and we could pull it up on video and watch it. Like, all of that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
You did fine.
Thank you.
I came down right by the field beforehand and was hanging out with you, and I was shocked at how not nervous you were. And then I'm like, he's been on stadium stages. Like, he's used to that. But that's not your element.
No.
I mean, going up on stage, you're comfortable with a microphone in your hand. I don't know how comfortable you were with a baseball in your hand.
Well, I wasn't comfortable at all. And, you know, I practiced weeks. I practiced about...
Couple months?
Yeah, I probably threw like 200 practice pitches.
Yeah.
And some pitches were great. And some pitches went all over the place, and some were in the dirt, and some went over the head. And I couldn't consistently do it.
Were you someone that played ball at all growing up?
I was a pitcher when I was, and I was good, but I was in 8th grade, and then, you know, I didn't make the high school team, and you
were at, what were you at, Brother Rice?
Yeah,
like that's a hard school athletically to
absolutely
make a roster.
Yeah, I mean, but I can't really. I mean, my freshman grade point was .63.
Oh, me too. About right around there.
3 F's,
awesome.
2 D's, and a C. So I wasn't going to be able to academically qualify anyway.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, I was like, you know, and the first thing the kid who I worked with, Miles, really nice guy, says to me, he goes, whatever you just don't throw it in the dirt, everyone will boo. I'm like, all right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then they have a complimentary first pitch or whatever first pitch before my first pitch.
Yeah, what was that, like a high school? I noticed they had buses of like
It was
high school
it was
kids or-
Eastern Michigan. It was
Oh,
some
okay.
college baseball player from Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
Goes out before me, throws. He's like an avatar. He was like in perfect shape, no body hair.
Yeah.
Whips like 150-mile-an-hour fastball down the plate from the mound, and I was like, yeah, I'm
not that guy.
I can't do that. I mean, I don't know if I could have done that in my prime. And I was talking to the security guy next to me, and he goes, I go, is there any, if I want to walk like halfway down and throw it from halfway down, is there any problem with that? And he goes, no. He goes, most people just do the same thing. They stand there, they throw the ball, everyone forgets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, that's it. So when I got out there, I waved off the sign and made the catcher made the catcher laugh.
Who was it? Was it a current
It was
player?
Vest.
Is that
number-
like the bullpen catcher or something?
I'm not
or-
sure.
Yeah.
It's just he wrote it. His name was, I couldn't.
He signed the ball.
He signed the ball number 19, and I looked it up, and his last name is Vest.
Okay.
Nice guy, and so I waved it off. He smiled, and I just walked. I walked 10 or 15 feet up, and I was like, I can
Pussy.
come. I am a pussy.
I thought that was a pussy move because I wanted you to like.
You wanted me to throw it in the dirt, and I was not.
Well,
gonna do-
I know, but you took the opportunity of that away from me
I took the
by
opportunity
cheating.
By okay, first off, a lot of really good things have happened to people who have cheated in sports.
Yeah.
The Astros won a World Series. Tom Brady avoided a $20 million fine.
Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong, yeah, a
won
lot
the
of people.
Tour de Force 7 times.
I'm sorry,
or whatever.
cheating is a good move, especially when it means it's different and it's
Yeah.
not a competitive game. And I was throwing out a fucking pitch.
Yeah,
I was gonna walk out and do my own way.
they're dicks about it. The Tigers, Major League Baseball in general, they're dicks about it because they're like, oh, no one can step foot on the mound. Like they don't want anyone touching the mound.
Right.
Like I feel like I would have to. Like, no, dude, I'm not. I don't want to I want to throw a pitch.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been my attitude, and I feel like I was talking about this yesterday on the show in prep. You know, I was telling people we were going down there
Right.
to support you, and I feel like, you know, my upbringing, like my dad was that dad that was like, my kids are going to know how to throw a football and a baseball, you know, and he was whipping leather footballs at us when we were 5, you know,
Right.
and we'd cry and it would hurt our hands. My dad was not the Nerf guy. Like, he was like, no, you fuckers are going to know how to throw a ball. So I feel like I probably haven't thrown a meaningful pitch in 20 years, even like catch outside. But I feel like I could go out to the mound and fucking get one over.
Sure.
Maybe that's, you know, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like I could, at any point, I can throw a spiral with a football and I can throw a strike with a baseball.
I'm sure you could do both. And
Maybe.
that's your skill set. My skill set is I could not tell stand up for a month and get off the couch and do 45
Yeah.
minutes in my sleep.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing for the past 25 years.
Right.
I haven't been throwing a ball.
Yeah.
You know, again, my athletic journey as a 54-year-old dude is I go on long walks.
Is that why you had jersey number 54?
Yeah, because my age.
Okay.
I'd like.
Did they let you pick?
Yeah. Well, they don't normally give you a jersey or a hat or anything.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
What?
They do not. So I wanted to wear a jersey, and I told Amanda I was going to buy it. I said I wanted to wear a team jersey, an actual team major league,
Like a real one.
like a real one.
Yeah.
I said, so whatever that costs, I'll pay
Mad
for it.
respect for that.
And she said, I know a guy, so it didn't cost me anything.
Nice.
And so she's like, what name do you want on the back? And I was like, Parrish, Morris. And I went Gibson.
Rosema.
Oh, yeah, Rosema. And then I was like, no, I want to put the name of the dude who got me the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I put my own name on there.
Yeah.
And then I just like, what number? And I'm like, I'm 54. I'm like, I'll probably frame the jersey.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then I got a hat. And
That hat you're wearing right now?
the hat I'm wearing right now. Amanda got me the hat. She used her discount, hooked me
Okay.
up. Great. Like she's
Amanda's awesome.
a great lady.
She's amazing.
Great
she
lady.
is. The problem with Amanda is she's so nice and will call so many favors in
Mm-hmm.
that she's got to be careful. She knows. Like, I got to be careful. I can't just keep, you know. But she loves hooking people up
Yeah.
and giving tours. Like the amount of people I know that have gotten full tours of LCA because
Yeah.
of her. Like, she doesn't have to do that.
No.
So I know. One thing that was weird, because I got Drew's tickets, and he was supposed to go, but he was out of town for a couple days, and he was kind of on the fence. So him and I ended up going in the Champions Club, which is just fucking awesome. All the food you can eat and everything.
Right.
It's just a great experience. I remember back in the day, we used to go to those games all the time. Drew and I would constantly go. He's had those season tickets forever.
Yeah.
And they would always, like, the protocol was whoever threw out the first pitch. Part of it is, a lot of times it's a celebrity and they get harassed that people want pictures, autographs, all that kind of shit. People want to talk to them. And so it's like, okay, let's get them out of the hustle and bustle of being just in the concourse with everybody.
Yeah.
Bring them up to the Champions Club. Plus, I think part of it is they want the people that are spending that kind of money on season tickets to be able to, like, hey, meet the Star Wars characters, meet the comedian or the actor, a lot of that stuff. So I just assumed that was the way it was still.
Right.
But Major League Baseball has gotten a real hard on about letting anyone on the field. Like, it used to be pretty fucking easy. If you had a reason or knew people, you could go down to the field.
Right.
Champions Club was an automatic. And it was like, no, we don't do that anymore.
Sure.
It was like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah, the security on the field was pretty intense because the guys said we could practice and, throw back and forth.
Yeah.
And the second we tried to do that, they were like, no. And I was like, you just fucking said we could do it. And so we didn't get to. But, I mean, the whole experience was fantastic. It was just a wonderful experience. It was absolutely everything I thought it'd be. It was really cool. It was
a nice day.
It's a beautiful day. I mean,
your hometown team, your favorite team.
Absolutely. And it's so funny how people can, like, you'll meet all different kinds of people. And there'll be the majority of people who are just positive and supportive. But there's always going to be those people who find an angle to make it about them, to make it about, like, you'll get text messages from people that you're not even close with. They're like, hey, I was going to make it, but I'm like, I don't want your bad news. Like, I'm not. And like, and then
if you're there, great.
Cool. And if not, it's not that I don't care, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, and then like excuses.
I was 100%, dude, I don't want to go to most games. I don't want to go to them anymore, but it was like, I want to be there to support Chris and Michelle, and like, that was it. I don't even know that I watched the game.
Yeah.
Like, hardly at all. We were up in the Champions Club, and then it's like, I'm focused on food and the goddamn Orange Crush float and talking to Michelle and talking to Tim.
And Rosema was focused on Michelle.
Yeah. Dude, that turned into a thing last night. So I was like, I'm up there, and I recognize Lisa, who's been a wait staff up there forever. And so it's the same people in those seats all the time that they're taking care of. And so she knows Drew really well and Matt Riley and all that. And I'm like, hey, my buddy just threw out the first pitch. Like, can we bring him and his girl? And she's like, so the point being, they know Drew and Matt, so they will go out of their way kind of to, like, let's see what we can do. But they've gotten so tight on that stuff. Right. Like, it used to be, if you went and then you had buddies, they had access passes. Yeah. So Drew could just be like, hey, I need a couple access passes. And you'd bring your buddies in. Right. They don't do that now. It's like, no. And so I'm trying to tip the girl. I'm trying to pay him off. Right. And she's like, let me work on this. I'm like, we got to get Chris and Michelle up here. How could they not have this experience while they're in town? And so next thing I know, Dave Rosema's up there, 84 world champion Tiger. And now Dave's in the mix. And Rosie's trying to figure something out, and Lisa and the bartender. I'm like, this turns into a fucking thing. Hilarious. And they worked it out. It was like, all right, let's get Michelle up here, and then we'll get Chris up here. And so I hope I didn't piss anyone off. But it turned into a fucking soap opera up there.
That's funny.
For a couple innings with Rosema helping out and Lisa. And then, we got you and your cousin. And
yeah, it was great.
Your cousin's a great dude, by the way.
Good dude, Mike B.
Yeah, Mike B. I've met him a couple times. He's fun.
Good man.
Yeah. So what else is going on in the J. Chris Newberg world?
I mean, I'm writing on Name That Tune, which is shooting in Ireland, and I'm writing it from my couch in L.A.
Really? Are you going to go to Ireland? Or
no.
No need?
No, I just finished shooting a show in Canada for 5 weeks, and I was there for 5 weeks. Toronto was beautiful, but, I mean, to go from being in one country home for a day and then go to another country for another 5 weeks, I was like, no thanks. Yeah. So I was able to work it out so I could write from home. And after that, I don't know what's next. Probably some stand-up, doing, you know, hopefully I'll get some of the dates with Russell Peters, but I don't know. Maybe I won't, maybe I will. Something, I mean, something, I always get work. Something will happen.
Do you like, because the TV thing, or acting thing or writing thing is not like something you've done for 30 years, like comedy. Stand-up you've been doing forever.
Right.
But do you like that? Does it take away at all from stand-up, or is it different muscle?
I think you kind of outgrow stand-up to a certain point. I mean, not that...
That's a blasphemous comment for comics.
I don't think so, because when you're young, you're hungry, and you have attitude, and you feel like you're just getting screwed over, and so that venom gives you joke writing material, and then you get older and you have success, and you're not really as angry about stuff, and I get it. I'm old, and I'm absolutely not the oldest guy, but it's fun to talk about things that are breaking and sure. But I listened to some of my old stuff and it was really, really insanely edgy.
Yeah, and angry.
And women hatey and and it's I don't...
But trying to be funny. It wasn't for the sake of just I hate women or I hate minorities,
I don't think I ever said anything but minorities. No, but I'm just not there. I always talk about the twisted sister behind the music, where Dee Snider, and I always talk about this. He was like, me and a bunch of dudes, we would dress up in women's clothes and change in bar bathrooms for years and years and travel the country in vans. And we were angry and we were pissed and we were hungry.
Yeah,
and then
they stayed hungry.
They stayed hungry. And then he's like, and then
some people got that.
Yeah, and then he's like, then we sold 7 million records, and I'm sitting in the backyard of my house by the pool, and I've got my Corvette in the driveway and my 2 healthy kids and my beautiful wife, and I'm like, I sit with my pen and paper, and I'm like, I'm not really angry anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not really pissed off, and I don't know what's going to happen after that. So it's not a question of, I can always write a joke. That's easy because I know the skill set, and I know that if I have a topic, I can write one and it won't take me long, and that's what I'm doing in television.
Yeah.
Television is not as exciting as stand-up, but stand-up, the majority of stand-up is about travel, and I'm not as excited to travel as much anymore because it's just for example, let's say we're talking about this weekend. So fly in Monday, hang out, do the show, do the baseball thing Tuesday. So that's pretty much Tuesday. Then today, check out of the hotel, come hang out over here for a few hours, then go to Cass Lake to hang out with another friend, then go to Royal Oak to hang out with more people, then fly back at 5 o'clock in the morning. And it's in my 30s, that's the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, and fun. Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah, but now it's just as fun to see everybody else, but the traveling
sucks.
It's like I get paid to travel. I do everything else for free.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys do it. When I've gone to, say, New York to do Kumia's show, or I've flown to Dallas to do, Landau's show. And I'm doing that again next month.
Does Dave live in Texas?
Half and half. That's where his studio is. He's at Blaze Media, so they've got a whole...
Where's the other half? Is he still here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
His wife doesn't want to leave here. I don't blame her.
He's so successful now. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, he's killing it. So anyways, I'm going to go do his show, but they're on the old Paramount lot in Dallas, which is, huge. They filmed RoboCop there.
Okay.
So it's just got, 50, 100-foot ceilings and, like you would a movie studio lot.
Right.
And so they've got different sets, like full sets for each show.
Yeah.
However many shows there are, 15. It's a massive place. But when I go, the point I was getting to is when I go and do that show and it's hey, we go live at 6 p.m. on Thursday.
Right.
It's I fly in Wednesday and I can't fly out Thursday after the show. I need to stay the night again and then fly out Friday morning, but it can't be too early. It is such a drag for me, even if it's just a few hour flight.
Right.
I don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, I don't. I never get used to it. Not that I do it a lot, but even then it's I need 3 days just to do a 2-hour show. You know what I mean? This idea of flying at 5 in the morning, do a show in the afternoon, and then take a red eye out.
Yeah, I used to do that. I used to do that constantly. I did that
nightmare.
for 20 years. I did that,
and you did it with bands too, driving in a shitbox van.
I've had every level of tour. I've toured in a rental car by myself. I've been in a van with a bunch of dudes. I've been on a tour bus. I've been in private planes. It's just I've had every level of it.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to do private planes and tour buses if I go out with bigger acts.
Right.
But it's I'm not I'm not young and hustling anymore, and the game has changed, and I'm not in any way down on it. It's just like I don't know if that's what I want to do. Like, it's it's like, okay, so now I have a decent sized social media following. It's exhausting to just keep up with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, just
do you like it though, or are you doing it for the job?
I do it for
because
jokes.
I fucking hate it.
I do it for
I hate
jokes.
it.
I don't spend a ton of time on it, but it's just exhausting. Like, all of these people have opinions, and like before, you just didn't care.
Yeah.
And everyone's entitled to their opinion, obviously, but there's just so many opinions.
I've found, like, you see the same names pop up on things, like, and I had no idea. Like, to me, this is just a listener.
Yeah.
I met him at an event or something, or whatever. The name that comes up, Nick Beverly, for instance. I don't know if you know that name.
I know Nick.
He's fucking hilarious.
Very funny man.
He's very, very. I had no idea. To me, he was just a listener. He's a super nice guy. Seen him at some stuff, but like, if he makes a comment on something you posted or I posted or anybody posted, I'm like, that dude's just flat funny.
Yeah, he's
just fucking funny,
No question.
creative, and I had no idea how many people were out there that are like, hey man, I have a day job, it pays the bills, and you would never know. But I mean, it shouldn't surprise you. We all knew funny people growing up that were just hilarious, but never did anything with it. Never went into that. And why would they? It's a risky ass business to go into entertainment.
Yeah.
But yeah, that to me is fun. You know what's weird, and it's kind of interesting too, is, and maybe you have an opinion on this, about musicians and comics especially. You think of something you've done your whole life, right? Like, if you're a writer, you would think you get better with that craft. Like, you'd learn more lessons, you'd know more things, you'd get more knowledge. Nobody wants to hear what Bruce Springsteen puts out on a new album.
Right now.
You don't now. And it's like, well, why wouldn't Paul McCartney be a better writer, better songwriter? He still has the pipes. Like, why is it like, no, that guy, I want to hear what he wrote when he was 25. I don't give a shit what he writes when he's 70.
I think it's the same situation. Like, it's the same situation that when you're young and you have something to say, and then you get to a point where you just like, I have zero doubt that Elton John can still play piano well. I have zero doubt that he can still sing, and that and that Bernie can still write incredible lyrics.
Yeah.
But they're coming from an entirely different perspective than what made him famous when he came out and he was an alcoholic, drug addict, closeted male,
Gay guy, yeah.
closeted singer who was masking himself in these phenomenal costumes, and he was writing piano in one room, and he was trying to make him fit with lyrics of another guy who was they were totally broke. And it was like they had all this massive talent, and it just
What is
worked.
that? A scrappiness, a hunger, like a drive?
Yeah,
that
I mean,
is.
Have you ever been in, like, now? Okay, like when you were younger, you wanted to accomplish something, you went after it till you got it.
Yeah.
And then, like, Mark Ridley told me once when he became my manager a long time ago, Mark said, he goes, it's all about hustle. And he goes, I used to want to get a job in the union working at a theater. He's like, so every single day I went down to, and I'm guessing the theater, I'm going to say was the Fisher or the Fox or something. He's like, every day I showed up every single day for months until they hired me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a young man's hunger.
100%.
And an old dude who needs a job just as much is be like, I'm not going to fucking go down there and bother anybody.
Yeah.
And that's just a different perspective. So it's like, when you have like a young McCartney and who's like, you get to know an artist the more they age. Like, Paul now, he's a vegan, and he's got 5 different wives since Linda, or 3 different wives, and he's an activist of this, and you're just like, he's on the greatest hits tour, and
which is great. He's amazing.
He's incredible.
He's the one guy I've seen outside of Prince where I go, that dude's worth every penny of $500
Absolutely.
a ticket. He is.
No question.
You
you're not gonna, as a young kid, you're not gonna relate. Going back to Bruce Springsteen, everyone wants to hear Bruce Springsteen music when he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
Because everybody is in their 20s when you're in your formative years for music. Then all of a sudden you get to a point and you don't want to hear music from people in their 70s when you're in your 20s, like newer shit. You want to hear the stuff
But
that
why?
made them.
Lyrics are poetry, right?
Sure.
That's basically what lyrics are. It's a poem. And you would think that with years of experience, years of writing, years of failing, years of success, that his ability to write poetry wouldn't wane. His ability to write good chord structure and appealing choruses, I wouldn't automatically think that, but there's something about it, like it's a joke now, like, oh, he's playing the new stuff, bathroom song.
Yeah, that's
like,
with everybody.
I know it is, but isn't that kind of weird? It's kind of weird to me that it's like you love, like, he couldn't write Born to Run when he's 70, or could he? And we don't even give it a chance.
What's the greatest like old person rock record? I mean, like, what's the most popular later in life rock record? I wouldn't even know what that would be.
I know,
because I think it's the same thing. It's when it's hard to be hungry when you're full, and it's just like, what sort of, like, how can I? It's like Seinfeld.
but the Beatles were full during
They weren't.
Rubber Soul.
Bullshit.
Why not?
Because
They were
music-
during Magical Mystery. They were during the White Album.
They were still discovering music. Rock and roll was still being figured out. They were they were constantly doing things that had never been done before.
Yeah.
So even though it was like they were full, it was still new, and they were experimenting with drugs, and they were just trying different instruments. So it was brand new. It was exciting. No one had ever done that before. And then eventually you're like, oh, fuck you, John Lennon, your stupid bullshit bedpiece thing.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
shoot you outside of the Dakota.
A good one for me is like diehard Pearl Jam fan. I thought when they popped in '91, it was like it was so needed. Like the whole Seattle movement, I think, is almost underrated at this point. Like how important that was, how great it was, and like there's no doubt Mike McCready can still fucking play his ass off, and Eddie Vedder can still write a lyric and still sing, and Jeff Ament can still rip shit up. They had a new album that dropped a month ago, and it's like, maybe I'll get to it at some point. Like, there's no way that album would have come out 20 years ago, and I wouldn't have been the first one in line.
I randomly heard a song off the new record, and I thought it was really good, and I played it for Michelle, and she was not impressed.
Really?
But it's a really good song. I'll show it to you afterwards. But
I downloaded the album. I mean, we all have Spotify, and maybe that's part of the problem. We don't have to invest anything. It's like it just comes with your $8 a month subscription.
yeah, and it felt so good when you were younger to discover stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you would just like, where you've been in a place where, like, have you ever heard of the Alabama Shakes?
Yeah.
Okay, they I randomly, like, I'd never heard the song Hold On, and I was in Toronto, and I was watching an NCAA basketball game, and the song came on, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. And so then I checked it out, and I listened to them, and I'd always heard of them but never seen or heard them. They were fantastic, and they've obviously peaked already, or I guess had their popular moment from years ago because they were on Letterman and whatnot. But it was really cool to discover. But if someone said, here's a song by Alabama Shakes, and it didn't hit me in that moment, like while I was at a restaurant, it just connected with me. I don't know if, like, as you're saying, if it's force fed to you, if it's going to have the same effect.
Yeah.
And everything is so force fed, and everything is so compartmentalized now to go to each of us. It's hard for people to do it. Like, if Britney Spears comes out with a bad example, if Britney Spears comes out with a new example or new record, only the people who are Britney fans are going to hear it.
Right.
No one who's going to try to be discovering, like, let's say there was someone who wants a new dance pop record, but you're just going to be like, nope, she's already crucified because of media. They're like, this is the crazy lady who does videos with knives in her room. She can never make a good song again.
She's a bad example.
What's a bad example?
Well, not a bad example, I shouldn't say, but I think, like, all those people that don't know her at all and push so hard for the conservatorship to end.
Yeah.
It's like, do you feel proud of yourself now?
Yeah, the idiots.
Fucking morons. Like, do you really think someone at her level could just be tossed into a conservatorship for zero reason? And you're seeing it play out now. It's
Yeah.
like, I hope you fucking super fans are happy.
Yeah,
Because
free
that
Britney.
looks like a mental case.
Whenever
I
I
feel bad for her. I do, honestly.
Whenever I would see the Free Britney signs, I would be like, you spelled kill wrong.
Were you ever a Britney fan?
She was phenomenal.
Yeah, she's fine.
She was fantastic. And she was an incredible performer, and she had sex appeal, and every single man wanted to be with her. And
I feel kind of creepy about that now because I remember her like, oh, baby, at 16 years old in the high school hallways, and it's like, yeah.
But it was marketing genius.
Yeah.
Throw some knee highs on her and a fucking schoolgirl outfit.
Yeah.
And everyone bought it.
Yeah.
Wait, we were going to talk about, you said you were going to talk about the podcast.
Yours.
Well, yeah,
Newberg.
you said that you have a different story about White Oprah than my story.
Well, I
I want to hear this.
So Heroin Has a Great Publicist was the podcast forever, and we took a lot of shit about the name.
Yep.
Right out the gate. And it's been on Radio for One Studios. Like, you and I have been teamed up with that forever. So you've launched new podcast, which I think is awesome. I love the name Newberg. I love your logo, all that. And I know you were doing the show with Amy Zempel. And I don't know that that was like every day, but it was whenever you did a show, she was a frequent like co-host of yours.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you and Michelle last night, and it sounds like you've got a new
White Oprah.
Which is Hannah.
Yeah. Hannah Abiel.
Hannah what?
Hannah Abiel.
Is she in LA or is
Yeah,
she?
she's great.
So does she come over or is she via Zoom?
She's via Zoom. We're gonna spend some money and make a studio type place out of it. Just haven't done that yet.
Yeah. But you, what was your opinion why wasn't Amy Zempel doing it?
Amy ghosted me for sure. She totally did.
Really?
She was okay. First off, great speaker, super intelligent.
Yeah, she
great
is.
host.
Yep.
Well spoken, knows her shit.
Yep.
And it just seemed like one day she just woke up and was like, yeah, no. And then she just was like unavail. So I kind of got the vibe that no. And then I think that she was traded to E, and then she was all of a sudden doing with Eric, and I was like, oh, maybe she grooves with this more. Cool. And so I was just like, all right, I guess I got fired.
Yeah.
But I was never mad about it. I was just like, oh, bummer, because she's great.
Yeah, she is. She's going to make a great local politician someday. My guess is she's going to go into some field, whether it's, Canton local politics to start, and who knows where it goes, because she's a bright girl.
Very smart.
Very, very smart. So I texted her and I said, why did you leave Newberg's podcast? And then I was just, he's coming on today. I'd like to know.
Right.
And she said, there was no reason, LOL. He just sort of stopped asking. And then tell him I said, hola.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. So you say she basically stopped
I think she
being
stopped
available, and she says, no, Chris stopped fucking asking me to do it.
That's crazy.
So one of you's full of shit.
Well, I don't.
And then I said, hilarious. Last night he said Amy stopped doing my show. I think she doesn't like me or wants to do politics.
I don't think I ever said that she doesn't like me.
I know, but I'm egging shit on. I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
And you did say, I think maybe she wants to do politics, and it's like, well, that's silly because she's doing a show with Isis.
Okay.
He's a fucking tard when it comes to that stuff.
Okay.
So no way is he going to hold down like a juggernaut show on politics.
Okay.
So that doesn't make sense. She says, LOL, I love Chris.
Again, huge fan of her. She's amazing. The reason I thought politics was because it's like there would be times when she would have opinions on things that I would be completely uninformed about.
Yeah, that's her.
And she was very adamant, and she was just like, I just fought this lady and got blocked on this or blocked this other lady for the stuff. And I was like, that's fascinating. And I didn't know. And like, I know that she had a different, and that's like, I didn't have like, the thing that I thought was so interesting and weird was when we first started Heroin Has a Great Publicist, it was so popular right away that I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I couldn't maintain it. I couldn't figure it out.
That's the hardest part.
But also, I mean, like, I just didn't understand it. And it was like, it was a completely different animal because when I would perform in clubs at that point, like I would still be buzzed or like high. And then all of a sudden I realized if I'm on the mic and I'm focused and it's just me and I'm talking and I'm rambling and whatever. And then somehow all these people, like, who I am as a person is I'm going to listen to both sides of the story.
Yeah.
I just am. I'm not going to be like, this is exactly how I feel. Go fuck yourself. That's just not who I am. I'm like, if we disagree, we disagree.
Totally agree with you there.
I don't like, if we disagree, we disagree. And so many people are like, you leftist, snowflake, pussy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I have
It's such an easy attack to someone that maybe doesn't agree with you exactly on a point.
And then like people are like, you're not funny. And I'm like, that's not an insult, dickhead. I'm not like making any money on this podcast. It's like, I'm just doing it because I'm trying to do it. And then it got to be very popular for a very short period of time. And then it kind of tapered off. And then I started changing formats. And then when I started doing stuff with Amy, it was super fun. We did it for like a year. And it was great. Longer, yeah.
Seems like it was longer.
A little bit longer. And she was great. And it was a little bit more political than I wanted it to be, I guess.
Yeah.
Because of
So you blew her up.
no, not even a little. I think she just one day stopped
We
showing
could
up for
call her,
work.
by the way. We could call her and ask her if you wanted.
That's unnecessary.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I could call her too. It's not. I mean, like again. It's
No,
like,
I know, but we could make the audience listen to it.
No, it's fine.
Okay. All right. So you're still blowing her up. That's
I'm
fine.
not blowing her
I
up.
gotcha.
So then I started doing it by myself again, and I started I was like, I'm going to take the approach of being positive, and I was like, that doesn't necessarily feel entirely authentic either. So then I wanted to just start talking about interviewing people and started talking to different bands and stuff. And once I started getting a bigger audience, and having weird famous people follow me now on social media, I was like, I'll just see if they want to be on the show and talk to them. And I'm so excited. And so
Who's the weirdest famous person that's following you?
Kate Beckinsale is.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's legit.
But it's just I followed her for years, and one day I wrote to her. She danced with Michelle one night at the Whiskey, and I was like, "You were great last night." And I'm like, "My girlfriend dances there." Followed back, and I'm like, and every once in a while I'll check to see if she's still following me, and she is.
Nice.
And one of my favorite though that I'm like, I've got a lot of big music people. I've got the guy from Naughty by Nature follows me.
Really?
And oh god, Rachel Bolin from Skid Row.
Yeah, Skid Row.
Skid Row.
Is he the one with the shit in his face, the nose ring to the
He's
lip or
he's
whatever?
the dude who wrote all the tunes.
Yeah.
And and then Drew Holiday from the Celtics, and just a lot of weird, cool people.
Why is that they're all following you now?
Because I started doing this dumb thing on the back of my porch where I
love it.
I just do one-liner jokes.
Yeah.
And people have opinions, and
The more you know.
Yeah, and it's just so silly, and people get all worked up about it. And so now I decided I'm going to have more interviews, and then I got Hannah to do the show, and she's great because she's 27, 28 years old.
Yeah.
She's got pink, black, and purple hair. She's in a
Awesome.
band, and she's just got this youthful perspective that I do not have.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, I totally get that.
And she's coming from a place where I used to be, of hunger, and where she's just
Drive.
drive, and she's in the studio recording shit, and she's awesome, and so we'll just get on the
How
phone.
do you even know her?
We used to work together at Laugh Factory,
Oh, okay. Was she a comic? Or
No, she was a
she's-
waitress.
Waitress, okay.
and she's a musical theater kid from wherever, and she moved out to LA, and she struggles, and she's doing great.
Here's what I would say about you specifically and your show. I think, and I think I've told you this before, I think you're one of the few people that, because it's a totally different style of craft.
Mm-hmm.
Being a host, a co-host, a third mic, that dynamic. I personally like having I don't care if it's a warm body to bounce shit off of. I can't look into the camera, and I mean I can, but I don't like it as much. I want someone to go, "What are you talking about? Just give me something."
Well, that's your history. You did that in radio forever.
Exactly. I think you absolutely don't need a co-host. No, that's not a shot at Amy or anybody else or Hannah. That I'm sure they're great. I know Amy's great, but you specifically, on whether it's Heroin has a great publicist or Newberg, have a very different style and unique take that is it's all in you. It's your warped mind, and if you know you at all, there's a fucked upness kicking around in your head, and it comes out in what you decide to talk about, how you decide to talk about it, and I think you could totally do a show just by yourself.
And I do that sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's when I was in Canada for a month, I did 5 shows by myself, and it's just I'll put 10 bullet points down and I'll just start going. I mean, I know I can talk,
You're right.
and
right.
I mean, that's what I do.
I mean, you do that as a comic, whether you're doing 20 minutes or an hour on stage,
Yeah.
totally by yourself.
If you're able to talk at people for an hour, you can talk alone for an hour because
Right.
you don't really need the back. I mean, it's a different response system, but it's definitely.
So it depends what you're looking for out of a partner. What do they bring to the thing? Now, I don't think of you at all as someone who is super comfortable sitting down and breaking down policy by
We were talking about that
the
before.
government. You know what I mean? That's not you. That's definitely Amy. Amy can do that.
Amy can do that all day.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think, like I was telling you before, all politics is, if you break it down, is just Michigan versus Michigan State. It's just like, if you're Republican or you're Democrat, it's just like you're either, like, it's going to be insulting, it's going to be ridiculous. Everyone's going to have an answer or a reason why one thing's opposing each other. And it's just exhausting to me.
Right.
It's like, I like Michigan State and I like Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, and
I'm kind of in that field, that boat too.
I like them both. And I mean, like, it's fun. It's like, I never went to either school. I lived in Ann Arbor for a while. I hooked up with some really hot girls from Michigan State, you know,
Yep.
and it's just like,
Boy, oh boy, we live the same life, brother.
yeah, I've got no complaints. And it's just ridiculous to me. Like, we were talking, and I think that, and you can probably go on this much longer than I can. I think that the single, like, with the exception of Jesus and Trump, I don't think anyone in the history of the world, and maybe Trump even might be more popular, there hasn't been a day that has gone by since he's been president or not president where people cannot talk about this dude.
I know.
In one way or
wild,
another.
isn't it?
It's just, it's infectious. It's bananas. I mean, whether you're a fan or an enemy, you can't not talk about him. CNN has an entire network devoted to talking about what he's doing in jail or whatever. And there's a whole nother network talking about how it's bullshit that they're talking about how he's in jail or going to not or whatever. And then every component, whether it's January 6th, like we were talking, I'm like, I think that was kind of a bummer that people stormed. You were like, absolutely, they should go to jail. But my facts were incorrect or inaccurate. And it's because of the different news organizations.
Yeah.
I think it comes...
You're talking about people that were murdered, quote unquote, or killed on that day. And it's like, see, this is what bothers... I don't have a problem with people giving their opinions on things. I just think it's really, really shitty that we have networks. And it happened the other day with Biden was doing that interview with Stern. And Biden said, yeah, you know, Trump recently said that if we don't vote for him, if he's not reelected, it's going to be a bloodbath. And it's like, yeah, like, and Howard just rolled with that. Like that was normal. And it's like, okay, what you just did with that comment and no pushback on that furthered the divide. That is a lie. You know that's not what he said. And there's so much you could beat Trump on. You could beat him up about. There's so many things he actually has said where you're like, oh my God. Like, don't fucking lie to people. You know what he said was, for the auto industry, it's going to be a bloodbath. If this guy's policies continue and I'm not elected to fix this, it's going to be a bloodbath for our... And there's nothing wrong with that comment. Right. To make it like the vision that you're giving is, if this guy doesn't win, his people are gonna murder people all over the country. And you're like, no. You're smart. Don't tell people that. Yeah, that's not true.
It's Michigan State too.
It is, but that's the part that bothers me. Like, really, there's plenty of shit that Trump's done that is true that you can go this, and I'd go. Yeah, you know, I don't have a problem with it, or I do have a problem with it, but at least it's true. At least it's fucking true. Don't lie to me. I think that's where Amy and I see eye to eye on a lot of things is like, that drives me nuts. Because I know there's people that are very innocent, that just want to be good people, that just want to be informed by someone they trust, sort of, and they're being fucking propagandized and lied to in that situation. And it's like, boy, that just... It chaps my ass, Chris, if you will.
I can see that. But I don't look at it from that perspective. I look at it from the perspective of he is so popular that whatever he says, whether it's true or bullshit or ridiculous, it gets blasted on everything. When he said, Hannibal Lecter, wonderful man. I mean, he ate people. You know, like that was his thing. He ate people. And even the executive producer for Silence of the Lambs was like, what the fuck are you talking?
Did he say that about Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah, it was. I heard it. I heard the clip.
No, that's got to be AI.
No, it wasn't AI. He was on stage. He was making some comparison about what a good. No, I heard the soundbite. I literally heard the soundbite. I mean, you can. And
I'd have to do research on that because I have not heard that one. That would be hilarious.
But it was really funny.
A soundbite he actually did say years ago when he was running was like, I could go out on Fifth Avenue and murder someone and people... He's right.
Yeah.
Like that base, he literally could go out onto Fifth Avenue and murder someone. And there's a cultish level of following that would be like, whatever. He probably had his reasons.
I think it's so funny because I'm not really that big active on Twitter. And for whatever reason, I do not even follow him. But I think it's because I would always I think I would disagree with Amy on this, and maybe I think I disagreed with you on this. Like, I think that Kyle Rittenhouse douchebag should just shut the fuck up forever.
Yeah.
But every time he tweets anything, I get an email of the tweet. I'm like, I don't care.
Do you follow him?
No,
Then,
I don't get it.
You know what though? They're doing that on purpose. Because I had this conversation with a really good buddy of mine who's a total libtard, absolutely. And he and I go back and forth on policy. We go back and forth on all kinds of shit. And
Also,
I
side
was
note
like,
before I forget, people who get too much collagen in their lips, I call those people lip-tards.
oh, okay, yeah, that's fair.
And
Yeah, that's a good joke.
Yeah.
But he's, and I was raging at him one day, and this is pre-Elon Musk buying Twitter, and I was like, this fucking, the only thing is, it's just these crazy liberal fucking whack jobs, blah, blah, blah. And he was telling me like, all I see on my Twitter are these fucking insane alt-right, like, Nazis. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a post from one of them or anything like or supportive of that at all. And it was like you come to the realization that they know what I'm going to go brrr and freak out about. And so they're like, here's some more of it. What's going to engage me? What's going to engage my buddy? Well, he's going to get really pissed off if it's just thrown like hardcore conservative shit thrown at him. And they know that. They're not going to feed him what he wants. They're like, yeah, I agree with that. They're trying to gin him up. At least they were. So it's like, wow, there really are like multiple Twitters, whether that's evil personified or if that's done on purpose, or if they're just going, well, we know what Chris Newberg's going to engage with. We know what Mike Walters is going to engage with, and so we give him that. We're not trying to be dicks. We're just trying to make our platform the more user-friendly, Kyle Rittenhouse, I was pissed off at the lies behind Kyle Rittenhouse. And I watched that trial, and I knew there was no fucking way they would convict him. So I would go on the air and say just that, and don't believe these lies. I watched that trial, and I knew there was no way in a court of law he was going to be found guilty of that. At the same time, anything he's done since then, I'm just like, oh my God, dude. He's like George Zimmerman. You know what I mean? He's like that level. Like some people just don't belong in the public eye and commenting on shit.
Famous for the wrong reasons. Wait, you had a couple other things on the list. Wasn't it P. Diddy and something else?
Yeah, I've got P. Diddy written. Okay, so for what Chris is asking about here, I literally didn't prep shit. But then I was like, what's going on in the world? Maybe I'll just talk, just bullshit with Chris about some of it. And so P. Diddy, sex ring. So here's what I wrote. P. Diddy, sex ring, Hollywood / Epstein, sex ring.
Okay.
So what we make of that is on us now.
P. Diddy, sex ring, Hollywood, what's the thing?
Epstein.
Epstein, sex ring.
Yeah. So is P. Diddy the entertainer's version of what was going on with Epstein in the political realm and entertainment realm?
I don't think that we've heard the last of the P. Diddy situation. I don't think they were just going to kick his doors down, take his stuff, and then never do anything about it again. I mean, obviously they worked something out where he's not going anywhere.
Have you ever met him? Do you know him at all?
I've never met him. I know people who've worked with him, and I know people who have met him who say he's a monster.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
I met him once. He was the sweetest fucking guy I've ever met.
Yeah.
But I spent 30 minutes with him, so that
sure
doesn't count.
Charismatic, and there's no way he's going to show
100%.
strangers his true self.
Yeah.
And like the way he was when he was on, when he did the making the band thing, and he was like, "You guys have to walk 10 miles."
Oh
to New York
yeah,
to get
hilarious.
I believe he would do that shit.
Yeah, I do too.
And I mean, it's like where there's smoke, there's fire, and like you can say it's very easy for a bunch of people to say, "Oh, well, those bitches just want to win money, or just want money from him, and that's it." Maybe one person, maybe two, but when like 13 to 19 come forward, it just makes me think. There's probably something. Absolutely. Did something break?
No, sorry. I wanted to play something.
Oh.
But I needed this cord to do it. So carry on. I'm listening. I promise.
No, I'm just saying there's zero doubt in my mind that he's probably guilty of a majority of the things he's being.
What do you think was going on there? That he had 150 cameras about his house here's what I don't understand. You've got a guy that's a billionaire. Like, what is the point to P. Diddy Like, he invites, name the superstar or musician over to his house, and then he's
Leverage.
got him on tape. For what? You've already won.
Whatever he wants. What I mean, yeah, for sure he's already. That's like Seinfeld complaining about the woke left. It's like, dude, you have $1 billion. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I sort of get
some
that.
people are. I mean, like Sean was. He was like, he got a big. The reason that they call him Puffy is because he had an anger problem when he was a kid. He would get so angry. They would,
Oh yeah, he's probably murdered people.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I bet you hear something that comes out. If it ever comes out, I bet he had something to do with Tupac, Biggie. Zero doubt in
Yeah.
my mind.
Yep.
But yeah, I would imagine that it's just what are you going to play?
I can't get enough of this, and it's going to piss the audience off because they've heard this before, and I can't stop playing it.
You're not going to do more tricks. What is that?
That's P Diddy, butt fucking Meek Mill. Poor Meek Mill. Yeah. That. Oh.
How do you know that?
It came out here. Well, this guy talks about it. It was there. I don't know. Whatever. And here's where I've come to on this. I don't know if this is absolutely real or not. I had this conversation with Drew, and he and I both came to the conclusion that we don't care. It's so funny as itself that it might as well be P Diddy and Meek Mill to us.
But also, it couldn't. You can't confirm it's P Diddy because not once during that does he say take that, like he does in all his songs.
Well, the supposed Meek Mill character is saying "fuck that ass," I don't know. I choose to believe personally. I can be propagandized. I can be lied to.
Okay,
but I choose to believe that this is real because I find it hilarious.
Okay, so let's say it's real. Who cares?
No one.
Okay.
No one. I think it's funny.
Sure.
You want to hear the guy talk about this and the parties?
How long is it?
A minute.
Sure.
Okay.
All the champagne was spiked, son.
All the champagne
like
was spiked.
all the champagne was spiked. Everybody was passed the fuck out. I don't drink, so I was playing that shit off like I don't fucking drink. I smoke, nigga. Like I smoke and I had my own weed, but like everybody was passed out. Yo, Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the fucking door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in overdrive. I ain't know what the fuck was going on, but I just heard balls slapping against ass cheeks. I heard niggas struggling to take dick. I heard niggas being like, yeah, daddy. When he started all that daddy this and daddy that, and then I heard some hollering and struggling like, yeah, I kept the phone there and I recorded all that shit because I was like, this nigga Diddy rich. So I'm finna put the squeeze on and get me a couple dollars and just saying, you know what I'm saying? There's nobody believed that was really Diddy beating Meek back in. But now y'all motherfuckers.
So that's if you believe that guy, that gentleman, nice gentleman, well spoken.
Yeah. He told you his intent. He wants to make some money.
I know. It's like, dude, if it was just, I heard N-word struggling to take dick, and I heard balls slapping against ass cheeks, and he left it and was like, this is crazy. I recorded this shit because no one's going to believe this. Like, if he left it at that, I'd been like, fine. Maybe he was just a dude at that party and was like, holy fuck, what's going on here? And he recorded it because it wouldn't matter if it was Bill and John down the street. No one cares about Bill and John. But if it's P. Diddy and Meek Mill, all of a sudden it's newsworthy. But when he was like, hell yeah, he's rich, so I recorded that. And it's like, oh, God. Okay, so you're just going to extort him?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Blackmail, sir?
I don't know. I think you're going to hear more about the Diddy stuff.
In what way?
I think that he's going to face some music. I think the FBI is not just going to raid someone's house, take your computers, and do nothing about it. They have to. There's going to be a conclusion.
They raided his Florida place, his LA place, and it started in New York.
Right,
is where that came down. The whatever warrants and stuff. I mean, that's pretty remarkable to have three major metro cities coordinate like that to go after him.
But if he's trafficking people, I mean, I don't know how much money he's gonna need to pay people off to make that go away.
Well, he's a billionaire.
Yeah,
I mean,
possible.
you could pay that money.
You probably
I
could.
just don't understand what the point, and I'm not denying that at all. If that's what was going on, Epstein, it makes sense. Epstein, it's like, hey, these fucking the Bill Clintons of the world want to bang young chicks, and I can procure them, but I want to get it on video too. So, like, don't even think about it, Bill. Don't even think about getting cute. I got you on video with a 16-year-old. Whatever. Like that. Like P. Diddy, though. P. Diddy's already got all the money in the world. He's already got everything. Like, why would you set up your friend?
Leverage. Just
for
in case.
what?
Maybe for this. Maybe for this. Maybe he knew he was eventually going to get caught. He's got leverage on all these different people. Maybe he's got police. Like they said, there was somebody working at LAPD who was on his security. Maybe there's a bunch of different people who are connected, and all of a sudden, all three of his homes get raided, and he's like, "Oh, guess who I have video of? Let's just talk about how this doesn't come out." And
Yeah, but they took all the video. That was the whole point of the raid.
I bet he's got copies. I bet he's got
I mean,
copies.
that's a lot of legwork.
Yeah, but you could do it. He's a very successful, very, very, very rich man.
Again, I mean, unless you're just an evil person.
I bet he's probably evil, but he's also probably bored. When you have that kind of money, like I used to, I don't know. It's just like when you have that kind of money and you've done everything, you're probably pretty bored. You want to just be able to do weird, diabolical shit.
Yeah. No, I do get that part of it. Like, you know, you wonder how did this guy get to, he's banging a fucking horse in a barn, you know? And
He's
it's like,
bored.
he's gone through jerking off to all the other stuff that he needs this to get excited. And it's probably no different. I think there's probably something to black men being gay and that being such a negative thing in the community, if you will. Like that's not just like a welcome environment for that. And to have to have that shit on tape, like, don't forget, man, I have you sucking my dick on camera. Like maybe that's part of it. Who knows?
I mean, I can't speak for anybody else. And I just know that if I were in a situation where P. Diddy called me up and he was like, "Hey, Newberg, what's going on?" And I said, "Hi, Sean." And he said, "Just in case you forgot, I have a video of you sucking my dick."
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I would just be really quiet and not.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
I wouldn't want to upset Mr. Combs.
No.
Because
No.
maybe I was there at the party and my champagne was spiked and I decided it was a good idea to blow Diddy. And
Yeah.
maybe that's the case. I don't know if I'd want anybody to know that.
No, I certainly wouldn't want anybody to know that. I've never been in that position or put in a spot like that personally, which is great for me.
Yay us.
Yay us, because I don't know how I'd react. I like to think I wouldn't blow P. Diddy, but you know.
Hey man, the champagne was spiked.
Yeah,
And
true.
if you're being drugged, you have no idea what you're going to do.
True.
You have no fucking clue.
Well, it sounds like, you know, when you hear comments from people, it's like, yeah, I knew, like, come dusk, time to get the fuck out of P. Diddy's party.
have you ever seen like homeless people who are fucked up on the street fucking? It's like they don't have any idea what's going on.
I've seen them jerk off. I've seen them shit. I don't know that I've seen them banging.
I've seen them banging, and like they have like I've seen fucked up like people crazy eyes where they have no idea what's going on, and that's where I came up with that joke. Like I saw these two homeless dudes, and one was blowing the other, and I thought, wow, both these dudes moved here with a dream. So far, it's only working out for that guy. But it was just like. And that wasn't the only case, but you see it all the time in LA. It's just like if you're fucked up, you have no idea what's going to go on.
Do you think there's a lot of truth to, like, there have been, you know, the Coreys, for instance. Something happened to those boys.
They were absolutely assaulted. There's absolutely a gay mafia or
in Hollywood that are taking advantage. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, when people, you know, there's a lot of people that go to work and they get a job somewhere and they want to climb the ladder, blah, blah, blah. When you're talking about the drive to like want to be famous or want to be somebody in entertainment, like it is absolutely on the table that you would fuck some gross producer to be in a movie. Like that is.
There's no question.
Loads of people would take that deal.
You look at
Harvey Weinstein deal.
Look
you know?
at free porn that's on the internet. Look at it's just you have those. Every situation is like guy behind a camera who you can't see or you just hear. He's like, "Hey, what's your name? Amber. How
Yeah.
old are you? 18. Are you cool if you take my..." Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, all she can think is, how can I pay my rent this month?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to blow this dude, and hopefully no one's going to see it, and then it's online. And then I feel so bad for those girls. It's like you'll see, like, this video's got like 31 million views.
Right.
And it's some poor girl getting railed for being, you can't see the dude.
Never.
And it's just like,
Never see the
oh my
dude.
God. And it's like, yeah, I have no doubt. And like, there's so many. Corey Haim, he was beautiful.
Yeah.
He was pretty.
Yeah.
And absolutely, there were people who took advantage of it. Plus, he was poor.
Yeah.
Plus, they got him fucked up.
Yep.
And there's no question. And it was just like, there was part of the kids who were just like, oh, I can take this. I can do it.
Yeah.
And like, you look at Macaulay Culkin, also very pretty. And it's just like, maybe he had his head about him to say, yeah, I was able to hook up with Michael Jackson. It was no big deal. Never bothered me. Or maybe he didn't. Who knows? It's none of my business. But
Yeah.
it's like, I think that happens all the time. I think it still happens. There's pedophiles, there's predators.
And there's obviously pedophiles and predators everywhere. It's not fair to just be like, oh, it's a Hollywood thing. No, it's a power thing. And you think pedophiles don't exist in the Midwest? Of course they do. There is something, we've heard for years and years. It's kind of like comics who knew Cosby, like the most beloved comic and like so important for black families and comedians in general, and like this wholesome, honest guy. Like, dude, every comic knew what was going on with Cosby, right?
I did not know.
I mean, but you'd heard stuff.
I'd never heard anything until
Bullshit.
Until
Burris or
until Hannibal did that thing. I had no idea.
Really? That shocks me that you never heard anything like that. And now, dude, do you know how many clips I've heard from that he put on wax? That dude put on vinyl. And clips that I've heard of him on Larry King talking about Spanish Fly, and you just put it in a drink and the girl goes to sleep and blah, blah, blah. Like, and there's kind of a light chuckle in the room, and no one thought anything about it. Cosby told that story on talk shows, on albums. Like, it was just not that big a deal.
The weirdest Cosby story I heard was, and this was the time he was banned from Letterman, was when he went on Letterman, and he would have all the pages, the female pages who were working for NBC, stand in his dressing room with their shoes off while he ate food. And Letterman was like, what? No fucking way.
What's a page, by the way? Is that like assistants?
It's an assistant.
Yeah.
It's just like answers the phone, goes gets coffee.
Right.
It's like, if you've ever seen 30 Rock, it's Kenneth. He just does whatever the celebs want.
Yeah, just foot in the door kind of thing.
Foot in the door.
I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Pick up your dry cleaning.
Stand there shoeless while you eat Szechuan or whatever. It's just fucking, I mean, again, that's another dude who had everything, and it was just like he was a predator.
Yeah.
Like
a horrible monster.
Horrible monster.
Like, no question about it.
And no one has ever really seen his monster side because his powerfulness, and it's still like washed away of like how big the Cosby Show was and like how good of a person allegedly he was.
Yeah. And the fact is, it's just true. People treat celebrities different. They're just treated different. There's something, celebrities like meeting celebrities. Like, it's not, even celebrities aren't immune to being like, oh my God, that's Leo DiCaprio.
Right.
Like, there is something to that. And when you there's a lot that celebrities can get away with, especially years ago before social media and all that, especially back then. But there's no doubt that there are people that if it was fucking Bill Mahalski, your local plumber, you wouldn't be like making excuses for his absolutely abhorrent behavior with children or with women in general. Where if it's like just being close to Bill Cosby or name the big celebrity, that you might be like, well, yeah, I don't know that I'd do that, but hey, I'm hanging out with Bill Cosby. Like, that's a reality. You know, and I don't know if that speaks more to society than it does anything else. Like the hunger to be around celebrity, that we have.
It's like how many, like even people who hate, you could hate anybody, but if there's a picture opportunity with them, like, come on, You're absolutely going to do it. And
Yeah.
I always think, like, is there a scandal big enough that could take down Taylor Swift? Like, she's the emperor of the planet.
Probably not. I don't even know what kind of female scandal. Like, it's such a male thing. Like, oh, it turns out he's a horrible pedophile or he's a horrible, like, what would a woman do?
She could do some, like, Dana Plato shit and, like, rob a bank for meth.
No one would care.
You don't think so?
No.
I know it wouldn't make sense. Why would she rob a bank? She's got billions of
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah. No, if she, I think it's more hurtful for a female who's got everything if it comes out that she's an absolute cunt behind the scenes.
Right.
She treats people like shit. You know, you saw what happened to Ellen and how people responded to Ellen. And if it was like, oh, like that would suck because everything I've seen about Taylor, I'm fine with Taylor. Good for her. It's not my style of music, but I respect the fact she writes her own shit, goes out and performs all over the world, and has done it forever. Good for her. No issue with her. If I found out, like, she was an absolute monster to her staff, that would bother me.
Yeah,
But I don't know what else. Like, if she robbed a bank, I wouldn't care.
She's not. There's no way she is. People who work for her have always worked for her. She donates money to food banks when she leaves the
I know,
city.
I know.
She's like a fucking angel.
But wouldn't that suck if you found out, oh, really, in reality, she's an absolute asshole behind the scenes? That would suck.
I would bet you. I would bet she also makes her boyfriends sign non-disclosures, and
Yeah.
she pays them off as well because you've never heard
course.
one of them say a thing about her.
But why would they're all famous too? Why would they sign NDAs and she wouldn't have to? She gets to write songs about all of them and beat the shit out of them, and everybody knows who they are. You
Okay,
know?
let's say you're dating someone, and let's say she's just the worst. Let's say she just like the only way she can get off is if she ties a rubber band around your penis and then flicks you in the air with a paper clip.
Yeah.
And you're famous also, and she's like, "Listen, it's over. Here's $10 million for you not to tweet what a cunt I am."
Yeah.
You're gonna go, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do you think no one's ever said anything about Tom Cruise? It's like every single wife he's ever been married with, like
None of them say shit.
not one of them have said.
But
a
is some of
word.
that like, they've got kids with him? You know, not all of them, but
No, not one person has ever said one negative thing about him, and there's so many gay rumors about that dude.
yeah.
And
Do you
it's
think
like-
those are true?
have
I don't
no
know
idea.
that the gay rumors are true.
I think there's that whole television show that was I'll have to figure out what it was called. It was on E. It was an incredible show that was based on his life and like how all these hot women are just beards
Yeah.
for him, etc. But I mean, also I don't give a fuck.
No.
But-
But it is interesting because you're not being authentic. If you're running around town trying to be like, hey, this like if you were butt fucking every dude you ran into, but you kept running around with Michelle, to me that would be interesting. Like, why are you doing this? No one cares.
Let's hope our secret doesn't get out.
Yeah. How many people do you think are they obvious? Because you run enough Hollywood circles and parties. Is it like, is that stuff people openly talk about still? Like, oh yeah, that dude's, you know,
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
playing for the other team for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, that was a thing, no doubt. They wanted to make Liberace look straight. Like every gay guy in Hollywood, where it's you look back now and you're like, how did I not see that one? How did I not know lead singer of Judas Priest was gay? Like, how did I not know that?
How did you not look? How did you not hear the lyrics to Rocket Man and not figure it out?
Yeah, yeah.
Yikes.
God damn it, that camera looks fuzzy on you.
That's okay. I'm
wonder if
fuzzy.
I know. I want to fix it.
That's fine. Aren't we? We're probably near the end anyway, right?
Yeah, we are. I did want to ask you about. I'm fascinated by comedy and writing. The Tom Brady roast.
Okay.
Did you watch it?
I did. I watched the whole thing.
Did you watch it live?
I did.
You did. So you saw the booze and everything for Kim Kardashian and all that. In real time.
Did they pull those out
They
of the?
did. They edited that out because I watched it Monday and Tuesday, like after it aired live, and a lot of the stories as I was prepping to do a show were like, "Oh my God, she was booed without mercy," and I'm like, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought she went out there and got a nice response. Well, it turns out Netflix admitted they edited that shit out.
Yeah, because I'm sure that the Kardashian clan made that happen.
Yeah,
I'm sure that they made it get rid of it. But also, she handled herself wonderfully.
I thought she did too.
They started booing her. She stayed in the pocket. She said what she needed to say. She's a funny lady. She's very intelligent. She's good at what she does. Everybody who boos her is probably jealous anyways, because who wouldn't want to be that successful and wealthy?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
don't have a problem with her. My audience knows I've talked about this plenty. I think that's a little better, the camera on you, but I'm sorry, dude. It's not great. I don't know why that looks like that. I've gained a respect for Kim Kardashian that I never had 20 years ago. Like when it was just like, what's she famous for? You know, sex tape or something.
Sure,
I think it's commendable the shit she's done, looking out for people that are, you know, falsely imprisoned and
she's
that
great.
stuff, and trying to, like, you know, people are gonna bag and are like, she didn't go to full law school. It's like, well, yeah, fine, but she's doing more than you are, and she sure as shit doesn't have to.
Well, most
so I have a
people-
level of respect for that.
Most people who are successful aren't going to comment anybody else who's successful.
Yeah,
Most, like, anytime you're ever getting comments that are negative are people who aren't winning.
yeah.
You know, it's like you're never gonna see Obama be like, this chick on American Idol sucks.
Yeah. Isn't that wild how that works?
No, it's
Very few of them that are in a good place or
Nobody-
successful are going to do that.
any negative comment you've ever gotten has nothing to do with you. It's all about whoever,
Yeah.
or whatever they're going through. But yeah, I watched the roast. What other questions? Do you have?
So first off, I thought Nikki Glazer
She killed.
killed. Absolutely. And I don't know if it's a roast thing. She just dropped a new special, something like Everybody's Gonna Die or something like that.
Someday You'll Die.
Someday You'll Die. On HBO. Haven't watched it. She's obviously beautiful, has that going for her. My guess is her stand-up special is not going to be as hot as her roast.
That was the Super Bowl for her.
Killed. Absolutely crushed. And here's the other thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and this is kind of where I was going to go with some of this. I think she wrote every one of those jokes herself.
I cannot confirm or deny that. I know that she does use writers, and so do all those people. She may have written every single one.
I got the feeling she did, that those were her.
She's such a pro. I mean, in previous roasts, I've talked to her. I think she pays very well. I think she pays a couple $100 a joke. She would be completely open to using jokes from other people, and she
Yeah.
would credit whatever. But she writes. She's a monster writer, and
Dude, that joke on Gronk, about, me know that not real money.
Yeah.
Dude, that was one of the funniest fucking things in a roast. And to see his big dumb head sitting there fucking laughing along,
Yeah.
like, so good. And I thought Kevin Hart had a natural, honest response at the end of that, where he was just like, oh my God, I'm still laughing about
Yeah,
that.
she.
So good.
I've known Nikki for probably since I moved. Well, she and I were both on Last Comic Standing in 2004, season 7. Myself, Chris Porter, her, and she was always.
It's a hell of an alumni for that.
Dude, Doug Benson was on there. Fucking Gabriel Iglesias.
I don't get the Doug Benson thing.
Well,
I just don't get it. I know that he's a monster. I'm not a weed guy.
sure.
So whatever.
But Nikki's always been hungry. She's always been driven. And I think 20 years later, I think that was her moment. Because she's been trying forever. I mean, she's been on Dancing with the Stars. She's had a bunch of different TV shows. She's had countless specials. And she's been climbing and climbing, but I
Yeah.
think it spiked.
It had to after the Brady one.
I mean, it was just, I was very happy for her.
And
because
you had some legit bangers on there. I mean, when you're talking about Hinchcliffe.
He killed.
Yeah. And Schultz.
He killed.
Kevin Hart was great.
He was great.
The athletes are throwaways. But as far as like comics go, Schultz is Murderer's Row these days.
Yep.
Hinchcliffe is Murderer's Row these days.
Yep.
And to go on there and do I think she outperformed all of them.
She won.
Yeah.
That was a great
She
week for
won
her.
the night.
And then she got, and a ton of people will watch her special based on that.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a perpetual commercial for how good she is. Her live money will increase.
Yeah.
Her building size will increase. She'll be playing arenas,
You think?
100%. Even if it's short term,
Yeah.
absolutely she'll play arenas.
Wow.
It was. I mean, that was a huge. It's like Netflix. There is probably the biggest medium out there right now.
Yeah. What did you I know this is kind of blasphemous, especially for my audience and people that tend to listen to a show like this, but I'm about done with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. I don't know what it is, but like, I don't think they're not Bill Burr level comics kind of guys.
I think they're successful.
Yeah, they're super successful. There's no denying that. But I'm just like,
They didn't have the best showing.
no, but I've followed a lot of their stuff. I know exactly what they're capable of, but I feel like when they first got on the scene, it was like, yeah, young, hungry, going at it, and now that falling into like, hey, let's spend a ton of time talking about how expensive our watches are. And it's like, yeah,
I mean, it's a transformation. I mean, it's hard to stay hungry when you're full, and they're both very full.
Mm-hmm.
They're both very full. They're both very successful.
Yeah.
They're both winning at every component of comedy right now.
Yeah.
I think with comedy right now, you have a very few amount of comedians, say 100, if that, who are working spectacular amounts. You know, you have your, like you said, Segura and Kreischer and like Nikki Glazer now and Schultz and Mark Norman and the guy who's canceled on SNL but is killing.
Oh my God, Gillis.
Gillis.
Yeah, absolute beast.
And then you have a bunch of other people who are kind of in the middle who are doing slightly better, but still it's really hard. And then you have
Who would that comic be that's not their level? I mean, everyone you just named is an A-lister.
Yeah.
As far as comics go.
I think you have. I would put Landau in the category below that.
Yeah. Do you think he'll get to that next level?
There's no way of knowing.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's much bigger than he used to be. Who knows if he's peaked or if he'll go higher?
I think he'll go higher, personally.
If he does, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's really funny. He's really good at what he does. And it's just a question of, I bet if you asked him if he was as busy as he wanted to be, I bet he'd say no. But I could be wrong.
Probably.
You know,
Although I know it's tough. I know how tough it is for him to not be in Michigan with his wife and his son. Like, that's really hard for him. So the idea, like, of, hey, I'm in LA, you deal with home life. I'm out here doing what I got to do. Like, some people do that. He's not one of those dudes.
I get it. I was miserable for a month in Canada. It was like by myself. Like Heffron is another one like that. John Heffron will always work. He'll always play clubs. He'll always do whatever. But he's not. And he's still out there hustling every single day to try to get stuff. So, like, you have people, like, that are winning with their net. If you get a Netflix special, you have a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, Theo's up there. He's at that level.
Yeah, yeah. Have you... I think of you as someone who would not like to do roasts.
It's not my style of comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty happy with the roast I did of Pierce Morgan. That was fun.
Oh, that was awesome. But that was a very individual thing, and it was a callback, and it was because of his behavior. Yeah, like that worked on many, many levels. But as far as like the roast comic, like Geraldo to me is one of the GOATs, and Jeff Ross I thought used to be. Like, I used to really, really enjoy him. Now it's just, I don't know, whatever. But there's some comics that you go, that dude wouldn't be a roast guy. Like, it's too mean.
It's a specific art.
Yeah.
It's a specific style. It's a specific, you have to be willing.
Have you written for him?
I have. I've written a couple of different jokes for a couple of different roasts, and some have gotten
Any
on.
roast people would know?
You
don't have to name the comics or...
Yeah, I mean, I did some for the Sheen roast. And I did.
Oh, that would have been a fun one.
Who was the other one? God, I got a roast. I did a roast that someone did for Tommy Lee. I got a bunch in on him.
Oh yeah, that was a great one too.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Like, I've written so many things for so many people that I don't. And I'm not saying I've written like so many things.
No. Like, I'm asking you about it. I find it interesting.
I don't remember. Like, I'll hear a joke once in a while, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's funny," and then they'll be like, "You wrote that." I'm like, oh,
no wonder I think it's funny.
That's why I think it's funny.
Do you, when you're doing, that's got to be weird. Like, if you write something, because I know you've done a lot for like Emmys and Oscars, like a lot of that, which makes sense because a lot of those people are not professional stage stuff, and you need good material to do that. So I know you've written for Eddie Vedder, for instance, and I don't know that he used a bunch of your shit or not, but. It makes sense that you'd have professional guys behind the scenes giving you a handful of lines to make your appearance great.
You always have people who are there who give them an opportunity to say whatever they want to say or say, you know, like, you're never going to approach an Eddie Vedder and be like, hey, buddy, I know you sold 100 million albums and we've never met before, but this is the thing that you should say about balls.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, hey, this is the topic. Do you have anything that you want to say? And if they say, yeah, absolutely, this is what I want to say, you're like, cool.
But I was wondering specifically, because I love the picture of you and Eddie Vedder, and I know you wrote some stuff. Again, I think you've told me, like, I don't even know if you use my shit. But if they do, right, so you've got someone that's an actor, musician, not used to doing comedy, and you help them write something, and it's like, if this guy delivers this right, this will hit. And they fuck it up, and you're like, dude, don't blame me for that.
I don't look at it like don't blame me, because it's just like, it's all you. The main thing to be successful in the writing world and comedy is you have one job, and it's not to be the funniest or to make them have the best material. It's to make them feel safe and comfortable and protected. And if you're giving them material that they're comfortable with, they're going to feel safe and comfortable and protected. It's the most important thing because it's their image. They're the one who has to say it. You're not going to want to give someone a joke that's going to be hurtful if that's not their brand. And you're going to have to tailor it to them and be careful.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
didn't you have a bad episode with Dr. Phil once? I think, and we may have talked about it on this show before. I don't know. Shut up.
My buddy got me an opportunity to write for Dr. Phil for 2 different shows. One was when he was on Kimmel, and he destroyed. He just did so well.
Phil
did so well, and like Kimmel was just lining him up left and right. And then he hired us again to do it for Conan. And I was like, this is not going to go well, dude. Conan's not going to set you up.
Yeah.
And
fuck no, Conan's a real writer.
Yeah.
Real joke guy.
So I don't remember what the joke was, but it just like started, like Phil tried to take it one way and Conan just went the other way.
Yeah.
Hard. And it was just, and
Did you watch it real time?
Yeah. And he just fired us. He just said, no, thank you, gentlemen. Never again.
Oh, it was your fault.
Yeah.
But why would you think Conan would play ball on something like that? Like, you got to know that someone like Letterman's probably not going to do that. Conan's not going to do that. Like, set you up so you can hit it out of the park. Like, they're going to try to derail you more than anything.
Yeah, and Phil at the time was pretty confident and pretty successful and pretty, like, this is who I am. And you know, whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's like I've had great situations where I've written jokes that have destroyed and helped the person, and I've had jokes that have not gone over well. And either way, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah. Do you think any of those athletes on the Tom Brady one wrote a single thing? My guess is someone wrote everything.
Gronkowski wrote all his own stuff.
You think?
Sarah Tiana, who's an amazing writer and a comedian who was on the panel, said that they originally tried to fix it, and they were like, nope, let's just let him do what he wants to do because he's going to be the greatest at doing what he's doing. Yeah. He's a personality more so than that.
And he was hammered.
Yeah.
Clearly, I don't know what he was on, but he was fucked up.
Bledsoe was on coke for sure.
You think so?
Did you see how many times he was sucking, doing this to his teeth and touching his nose? And he was the greatest commercial for cocaine ever.
Yeah. Who did you think did well on that athlete-wise? Because athlete, I cringe. I think Manning does well. Peyton.
He's funny.
He's funny naturally and done some good stuff.
He's great.
Tom was great.
Ben Affleck was not good.
No.
Tom was fine. Tom's like one of those people where you're just like, really, you don't get to do comedy also. It's like, come on, man.
I don't think he could do it. Wasn't there rumors that he was going to try to do stand-up?
He was just
Wasn't
fucking that was like
was that a joke?
Yeah, that was like when Mandrich said he was going to box Tyson. He was just saying it to say it.
Like Edelman.
He was
stupid.
No, I think Kevin called it out perfectly. There was a bunch of dudes talking about their dick, but like,
yeah,
that was
funny.
But that's all they were talking about. It was just like, dick talk.
Yeah,
and I thought that was kind of annoying. Like every single person talking about how Tom is gay.
Yeah,
just like,
I didn't get that. Where did that come from? Do people really think Tom Brady's gay? I've never really. Do you think there's any truth to it?
He's got a really good...
You nodded yes before you nodded.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Really?
He was married to 3 of the most beautiful women in the world, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Giselle, Bridget Moynihan, and there wasn't there a third one who
Probably. And if not, he could marry the next hottest one in the world.
And he went out with Kim and dated her. But he's got this guru, that guy who's like...
Alex Guerrero.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is weird.
Who seemed to be really laughing it up when
he found it hilarious that everyone connected him with being gay.
Because I'm sure he's like, Tom, just say it. No one cares. And no one would care.
No one would care. No one.
No one would care. Maybe the Fox audience might be a little bummed out.
Would they though? I don't know, man. I don't know that they care. I don't know many people, honestly. In fact, I don't know anybody nowadays that would be like, "Oh my God, that guy's gay. I'm done with him."
Cares?
Like, are there really people that still give a shit?
Probably.
You know,
Detroit's Detroit's cosmopolitan, so it's a bigger city, but like middle of the country, you have a lot of people who are still freaked out about it.
Yeah.
It's a
I guess.
taboo.
You know, honestly, I was watching Designated Survivor. You ever see that show, the Kiefer Sutherland one?
No.
I started watching that. I'd never watched it. I think it was like 2017 or whatever. And they only did 3 seasons. And the 3rd season was picked up by Netflix. So all of a sudden, everybody's swearing in it. They're getting more racy with the storylines. And they have a fucking scene where it's this black dude, and it's important to the storyline that they're black. But you have this black guy who's like working on digital video for campaign politicians, that kind of guy, who's young, black, and then you got a black Secret Service agent, and they, of course, lock eyes, and it's on. And they open this scene with this dude just fucking blasting this guy from behind. They're in bed together, and they're making out, and I just found myself just like, oh, fuck, make it. When is it going to stop? You know, I don't care that they're gay, but something about it, I was just like, oh, God, I can't fast forward through this. It still made me uncomfortable to watch.
I don't know. The only thing that makes me uncomfortable is anything that Kiefer Sutherland's in, because I've been out with him a couple of times. And
Really?
yeah,
Is he not a fun dude?
this was back when I first moved to LA, but he used to drink feverishly. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's sober. He'd be dead if he still drank at the level he drank at.
Really? Like what kind of level?
Went out with a driver, hung out with a bar full of strangers, got everybody drunk. No one could keep up with him.
Really?
was-
He's not a big dude either.
No, he's tiny and he's a hard drinker.
Really?
He was.
Yeah. Well, he's someone that had like super stardom early. I mean, Kiefer's been around forever.
Yeah, I would bet he doesn't drink now. He'd absolutely be dead.
Yeah.
He'd be 100% dead. Like he would put back bottles, just like not a bottle, bottles.
Really? Of like hard stuff?
Yeah, and he was fluent, and he was just like very.
Wow.
And he was like one of those like, last thing I'll say. Because I'm sure we're close.
Yeah. We're wrapping up right now.
It's very strange that you meet a celebrity who's over the top cool that you're not uncomfortable with it. Like I hung out with John Stamos 2 weeks ago, and I saw him at the Laugh Factory, and I walked up to him, and I was like, I have to fucking talk to John Stamos. I got to do it.
Yeah, he's supposed to be super cool though.
He's the coolest guy I've ever met. And he shakes my hand. He tells me to sit down, and then he goes, and we start talking about the Beach Boys and how he's drumming. And then I said, here's a funny story. I'm like, Michelle, Michelle, when I saw you at a casino in California, and she was like, I'm gonna get on stage and dance with him. I'm like, baby, you're not gonna get up there. Security's gonna stop you.
Was this a Beach Boy show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going. And I was like, good luck. And she took off, and security stopped her and walked her back to her seat. And she was like, yeah, I got stopped. I didn't get to do it. And I was like, that's cool. So I tell John this, and he's like, oh my God, he goes, I'm so sorry that happened. Give me your phone. Takes my phone, makes a video, and he's like, hey, Michelle, this is John from the Beach Boys. I'm so sorry that you didn't get on stage. And he's like, next time, no problem. And then he's like, so sorry, or thank you. He was super polite. Gives it to me. I send it to her. She's like on cloud 11.
Yeah, of course.
And then we start talking about Brian Wilson. Gives me his phone number.
Gave you Brian's?
No, he gave me his phone number.
Yeah.
Sends me.
Brian's dead, right? Is
No,
Brian
Brian's
dead?
still alive.
Is he alive?
No, he gave me John gave me his phone number and sent me over a Vimeo of him playing piano with John when John was like 19, 20 years old. And it's just Brian on the piano playing all this shit. And then I sent him my special, and he responded. He was like, he's like, I watched. It was really funny. He's like, I talked to Coulier about you. And I was just like,
Coulier probably knows you, right?
Matt, not friends, not whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe knows the name if someone says, you remember?
Yeah.
And literally in that moment, I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, he's so nice and so famous.
Yeah.
So I was like, heart.
Don't do that. I fucking hate that, man. Can we? And it's not an attack on you. This goes because it makes me pick up my phone when it's like, blah, blah, blah. And I know I do everybody I give black fist bumps to.
Yeah.
Like I do that.
Sure.
But the other one is that when they hold down the thing and it gives them the option to go ha ha or exclamation point. Like, don't make me pick my phone up and look at it and see it. And it's like, oh, that's all I get from you is a fucking exclamation point.
I responded, but there was a point where I was just like, I'm cashing out. I've won this conversation.
Yeah.
And this experience. I'm not
Better
gonna,
to leave early than stay too long.
Yeah, so he's an amazing dude, and yes, I have his number. Yes, he says he likes comedy, and he said invite me to a show sometime.
Yeah. Whether
I do that is an entirely different thing.
You should invite him.
Listen again. I'm leaving the table ahead right now.
Nah. You just don't want to be the guy that keeps texting him all night till 3 in the morning. Fuck that.
I don't want to do that, and I don't also want to be like, because right now if I don't, it's just like I probably will, but that's just not who I am. I'm not a bug. I'm not the person who bugs anymore.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I would already called him 3 times.
Oh yeah, I remember what that hustle, Chris Newberg. I remember that kid.
Yeah,
but
he was alive.
You had to at work too. You got on the Drew and Mike show because it was like, hey, I'm here. I still want to do this show. Like, that's a hard thing to do to like sell yourself, push for other people to recognize what you're doing. It's not easy.
Last thing I'll say. I was thinking like back in the day, if I would have had all the famous people phone numbers I have in my phone now, and Drew was like looking for famous people phone numbers, I could have just been like, made it rain.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I don't want to accidentally butt dial any of these people.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I accidentally butt dialed an actress, a local one here, and I had her number, and I did it 3 days in a row, completely on accident, and I must have looked like the biggest psychopath on earth.
We are blocked now.
Oh, I should be, but she was on a TV show, and I don't know what I was doing, but it was like waking up at 4 in the morning to go to work, grab my phone, Next thing I know, I'm fucking calling her, and just like, no, what the fuck? Why would I call her? And then it happened like 3 days in a row. Oh, it was awful. And I had no interest in fucking hitting on her, calling her, nothing. Like, I would never do that. So it was just awful. Chris, thank you so much for coming in, buddy.
This was fun.
I know you got better shit to do with your day, so
good luck out west.
Thank you, pal. I can't wait. I can't wait to get set up. I'm only going to be a 4-hour drive from you.
Yeah.
So I plan to come over and
anytime.
Yeah, do some shows with you guys.
And anybody who used to listen to my podcast who stopped because I was a left snowflake, feel free to give it a shot again. Feel free to check out Newberg and see if you like it.
And I know you're really happy with Hannah.
Hannah's great. Newberg and Hannah. And my condolences to if I was the person who didn't call Amy, but I still stand by my story.
There's some shit that went down there. I don't know what it all is, but it's seriously, I don't know which one of you shit the bed on this one, but clearly this is
you know
not
what? You know what? I'm gonna have her on an episode.
Yeah, you should.
It's gonna be a
she'll
reunion.
do it.
Of course.
Yeah, Amy's great.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing Michelle. Thank Michelle for playing with Cece while we were doing this.
Yep.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
I'm glad I got to have you in here before I packed this all up. So
I'm glad.
Yeah. Thank you, pal.
All right, see you, dude.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Garrett and I should be here tomorrow, unless anything else comes up. I don't know, but we should be able to do that. So thanks for hanging with us. Certainly appreciate it. We'll see you shortly.